right, buddy. Time for bed.
Alright.
Listen, you did a really good job on your concert tonight.
Thanks, Dad. Love ya.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I like that you're well-rounded.
Thanks.
And you do sports.
My father, growing up, was very tough. He was a Vietnam veteran,
really
a former
tonight.
U.S. Marine,
Thank you.
and a police officer in the town that I grew up in. So there's a lot of expectations for me, especially as the only boy. He put a lot of pressure on me to do well academically, to be a man, to focus on family. But he also had a nurturing side that he didn't show often, but I think he wished he felt more comfortable showing more often. For me, it was kind of surreal, like watching my father enter the final stages of his Alzheimer's while also getting ready to become a father. And I told him that Leah was pregnant, and he, in a weird moment, he just stopped. He started to cry. He reached for my hand, and he started talking about how he was going to spoil my son when he was born. For me, at that point was pivotal in my life, because I wanted to make sure, like, my goal at that point was for just my father to see my son.
You get butterflies in your stomach?
Yep.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You think you want to stay doing chorus and move up with the other kids?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. Me and Aiden were talking about it.
My son was born the following January,
What did he say?
2010.
He said he's gonna do it.
And we were fortunate enough to get a little over a year and a half, almost a year and a half before my father passed away in 2011. So we have a lot of memories. We took a lot of videos, a lot of photos of my father. Ended up getting well enough to go home and for like the last year of his life. So we were able to, even though he didn't at times know who I was or know who my son was, anytime I brought my son in, he smiled and seemed happy in his presence. So we spent, like I said, a lot of time together in that last year and a half. And as far as becoming a father, the actual day, like, probably again one of the most emotional days of my life. It's like simple things like going fishing and going to sporting events. Like, that's been a big part of my son's first 10 years. I mean, we fish all during the summer. We go to, at least a Celtics game or a couple of Red Sox games a year. Because when I think back of my memories of my father, those are the things I think about. Think about, sitting along a pond, and fishing in the evening hours of the summer. He used to always, stop and get us like cans of soda and M&Ms. So my son and I still do that. Like, if we go fishing, we stop, even though neither one of us really drinks soda. We'll grab a soda and split one. We'll always grab a bag of M&Ms. So definitely traditions like that.
All right, let's get a good sleep, all right?
Yep.
50, 49, 48, 47, 46, 45, 44, 43, 42.
But I really,
40, 39,
made a commitment that
37,
I was going to take on a lot of the things that my father had passed on, as far as some of the traditions that we had.
30, 29, 28,
But more importantly, I was going to do things differently, and show more of the nurturing side that I didn't get as a child with my father. So
16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I love you, man.
Me too.